Mindsetters, welcome to today's Maths Literacy Show. Today we have a special revision lesson on finance problems. We have selected highlights from lessons shown earlier in the term to help you revise this term's work. So please post your comments and your questions on our Facebook page or on Twitter @LearnExtra so we can help you with your revision. You can also download the show notes for today's lesson from learn.mindset.co.za or click on the link on our Facebook page. Now it's time to get on with today's lesson.
A squash racket cost 450 Rand before the 14% VAT is added. How much VAT must be added? Okay, so I decide I'm going to be fit and I'm going to play a bit of squash, right? To play squash, I got to have a squash racket. Squash racket, this particular one that I want, costs 450 Rand. But it hasn't, the VAT hasn't been added to that 450 Rand. That's kind of illegal, hey? Because nowadays when you go in the shop, you see the price, it's got to include that VAT, okay? But let's say I've got this 450 Rand and I've now got to add the VAT. All right. Now, guys, this is a very basic little calculation. All I'm going to do here is, first of all, I'm going to try and find a pen. There we go. And I'm going to say I'm going to find 14% or 14 over 100 because percent means out of 100. So 14% of 450 Rand. Okay? 14% means 14 over 100. I'm going to multiply that by the cost of that racket, which is 450 Rand, which gives me a total of 63 Rand. So this amounts to 63 Rand. Okay, that's an R, by the way. It went all wrong. All right. Now, what will the squash racket cost after the VAT is added? That's a bit of a giveaway. They use the word added. In fact, the fact that they're using the word added is telling you that you're going to have to add the VAT to what it originally cost. So it cost me 450 Rand. Well, that was the actual value of the racket. I'm going to add the 63 Rand to that, and I'm going to now land up with the amount of 63 plus 450 Rand gives me a total of 513 Rand. So my cost of my racket, when I get to the till, the woman behind the till is going to say, you owe me 513 Rand. Okay, I'm going to die of a heart attack and an absolute nightmare paying that, but that's the amount I'm going to have to pay. Now, it's paper one question. Nothing hard about it, and I'm sure it's something you've been doing since grade 10. Now, let's take it a step further, and let's now look at our next question. All right. And this now we're tending to look at a bit of a paper two. It could still come into paper one, because remember in paper one there are always those, I think about 5% or 10% of the paper has to be like level 3 questions. So there's nothing to stop examiner from putting this into paper one, but normally we tend to find it in the paper two. Let's have a look. A television set is advertised at 6,270 Rand inclusive of the 14% VAT. What is the cost of the television before the VAT was added? Now, folks, before I do that, I'm going to go back to this question, and I'm going to show you a little bit of magic. All right? Now, there's a huge mathematical explanation for this, but I don't want to go into it. Just remember the following. I'm going to show you this number, 114 over 100. Okay? Now, 114 over 100, if I take the amount that squash racket cost, which was 450 Rand, and I multiply it by 114 over 100, I want to show you what happens. Let's move this calculator. I'm going to say we got 450 Rand, we're going to multiply it by 114 over 100. Now watch what happens. I get an answer of 513 Rand, which was the amount including the VAT. That magic number or magic little fraction, 114 over 100. So if I'm trying to find, if I give you the price and I say, what is the price if I still got to add VAT? I'm going to multiply that by 114 over 100. Now let's look at the next question. The next question says this. Television set is advertised at 6270 inclusive of VAT. What's the cost of the television before the VAT was added? Right. Now, do you remember that 114 I told you and said it was a bit of a magic number? I'm now going to introduce you to another one. Instead of 114 over 100, we're going to flip it. 100 over 114. Okay? So I want you to remember this. 100 over 114. Okay. I'm now going to do the sum, and I'm going to do it the way that more than half the country did it 2 years ago in a final exam, right? And half of them got it wrong. So I'm going to do it like that. I'm going to show you why it's wrong. Now, a lot of you will look at this and say, gee, this is so easy. All I'm going to do is I'm going to find 14% of this amount of 6270, and then I'm going to say 6270, that's an R again, minus this amount that I get. So let's do that. And this is what a lot of people did in this exam. They said, right, we've got 14% of 6270, okay, equals, and they get an amount of 877 Rand 80 cents. 877 Rand 80 cents. Then they say, well, let's just subtract it, because then we will know how much that TV cost before the VAT. Okay, so we're now going to say, right, cool. We've now got this, what's it, 6,270 Rand. We're going to subtract 877 Rand and 80 cents, and we land up now with an amount of 5,300, I've forgotten that number already, 92 and 20 cents. So people say now, sure, I finished that sum. It was so easy. And when we mark it, we say, hey, I marked this wrong. It was so easy, okay? Because, guys, what have we done? We have found 14% of this amount, not 14% of the amount that the, what are we buying here, TV actually cost. Let me show you what I mean by that. If I take this amount of 739220 and I multiply it by 114 over 100, let's see what actually happens now. Okay, there's our amount. We multiply by 114 over 100, and we get an amount of 6,147 and 11 cents. 6,147 and 11 cents. Now, guys, our TV didn't cost that. Okay, we said our TV cost 6,270 with the VAT, and so something went horrendously wrong here. And that's because if you are trying to find the value of goods before the VAT was added, guys, we cannot find 14%. Because if you're finding 14%, you're finding 14% of the total that's already including the 14%. So you're doing it twice. Okay, so what do we do? If I'm trying to find that value of those goods before the VAT was added, I remember my magic number. So it cost, what did it cost us? It cost 6270. 6270. Now, if I wanted to add the VAT, I multiplied by 114 over 100. If I want to subtract the VAT, I'm going to multiply it by 100 over 114. Let's see what happens. So I've now got, clear all those horrible figures, 6270, multiply that by 100 over 114, and I get an answer of 5,500 Rand. Okay. Should I prove to the viewers I'm right?
Please.
Okay. Let's find 14% now of this 5,500 Rand, and then see if we land up with 6270. What do I do with this if I want to add the VAT? I multiply by 114 over 100. So let's do that. There's 5,500. Multiply that by 114 over 100. And guys, we are hoping to get 6270. Let's see if we get that. Okay, I'm going to push equals, and there she is there. 6270. So I've taught you a very valuable little thing here. If I give you the value of stuff and I say, what is the cost of that if I've still got to add VAT, I multiply by 114 over 100. If I give you the value of stuff with the VAT and I say, right, now, what was the cost of that before the VAT was added, I'm going to multiply it by 100 over 114. Okay, just a little nifty way of remembering that and being able to do that question like that.
Okay guys, I hope you are enjoying this revision session. If you are struggling and need help, please post on the page or send your questions to the Learn Extra Help Desk. The links are on our Facebook page. But now it's time to take a very quick break. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Welcome back from the break, guys. Doing revision is really important, so I hope you are enjoying this lesson. I'd love to chat to you on our Facebook page or on Twitter, so please let us know how you are doing. Enough of the chat, now it's time to get back to some more revision.
Let's just get ourselves accustomed to this thing behind me called a tax table. Right. In our tax table, we have something called tax brackets. Okay? In other words, if I earn anything below 160,000 Rand, I belong to tax bracket number 1. Okay? If I earn, let's say, 350,000 Rand a year, sure, that would be nice, eh? If I earn 350,000 Rand a year, I fit into this tax bracket, right? Because 350,000 is between 346,001 and 484,000. Now you will notice that I've used the words annual. I haven't said if I earn a monthly salary, I've said if I earn an annual salary. And this is important to remember because so many matrics make this mess in the exam. Guys, this table refers to my annual income, my annual taxable income. Right.
Okay, guys, I hope you are enjoying this revision session. If you are struggling and need help, please post on the page or send your questions to the Learn Extra Help Desk. The links are on our Facebook page. But now it's time to take a very quick break. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back from the break, guys. Doing revision is really important, so I hope you are enjoying this lesson. I'd love to chat to you on our Facebook page or on Twitter, so please let us know how you are doing. Enough of the chat, now it's time to get back to some more revision.
We're now going to introduce you to something new, and that's this thing behind me, and it's called a monthly or an annual deduction table. Okay, a tax deduction table. Now, folks, if you go to the SARS website, and the SARS website's quite simple, okay? It's just www.sars.co.za, and you have to put the .co.za because it's South Africa, right? South African Revenue Services, sars.co.za. And if you page through that wonderful website, you'll come across the different ways that they charge you tax. And one of the instruments you can use is this thing called a tax deduction table. Now, it's very simple to use. It really, really is. Okay? And I'm going to show it to you. Let's have a look at this question. Use a monthly deduction table, or in this case, this is the annual deduction table, so it shouldn't say monthly. The annual deduction table to determine the monthly tax or the annual tax that a 66-year-old will pay if he earns a taxable salary of 164,000 Rand a year. So yeah, we have a dear old soul, 66 years old, and they earning an annual taxable salary of 164,000 Rand. How much tax are they going to pay? Well, if you go to the SARS website and you come across this deduction table, all you've got to do is you've just got to scroll down the pages, see how much you earn, and run your finger across. Now, I must apologize. This table is so detailed with so many figures, right, that when I captured a page of it and stuck it on the notes, unfortunately it's come out very small, so your eyes aren't quite good, so I'm going to talk you through it. Okay, let's have a look here. So we told that this dear old soul of 66 years old earns 164,000. Now over here, this word here is called remuneration, and remuneration basically means the amount of money that I'm going to earn, or my taxable salary. Okay, so we got a 66-year-old who earns 164,000. So along here, we've got a whack of figures, right? Now, please remember, and I've got to state this, all I've done here is I've just captured a portion of that table. But this table just scrolls down and down and down and down. It just carries on for freaking ever. I've just got a little bit of it, okay? So I'm going to look for 164,000 Rand a year. Now, over here, I've got 163,910 Rand, or 40 Rand, all the way to 164 Rand. In other words, guys, this is where I'm looking. Now, I know you can't see this very clearly, and I do apologize for this, but let's have a look. So if I were to do a line all the way across here, I'm going to be able to calculate how much tax I need to pay every year. Now, you will see that this is broken up into three parts. Persons under the age of 65, persons 65 to 74, and persons over the age of 75. Our dear soul is 66 years old, so we are going to look at this column down here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to run my finger across, run my finger down, and see where the two clash. And that's going to tell me what tax I'm going to pay. Now, these deduction tables, I'm not sure why they still like this, but they show something called site tax and pay as you earn. Okay, then it gives you the total of your site and pay as you earn. Well, fuck, don't worry about site tax. Okay, we don't charge. We don't go into site tax as individual taxpayers. We're just worrying about the pay as you earn. Okay, so here we go, and pay as you earn stops at this figure, 11,992 rand. So this person pays 11,992 rand a year tax. If I'm wanting to know how much does this person pay every month, we divide that by 12, and that'll tell me my monthly tax. So let's do that. I'm going to say I had 11,992. Divide that by 12, and we get an answer then of 999 rand and 33 cents. So that's what the person's going to pay every month. Now, guys, I want to say this to you, that this is such an easy way of calculating your tax, because all you're doing is you're just looking at a table. Right? And all you're doing is saying, that's how much I earn, that's my age, where do the two meet? How wonderful and how basic is that? So one of the advantages of using a deduction table like this is that it's so simple to use. But here's one of the disadvantages. One of the disadvantages is this. If you look at this, it doesn't give me a specific salary. It gives me a range. So it's saying if I earn between 163,940 a year up to 164,239 rand a year. So it's giving me a range of salaries and saying in between there, this is the approximate tax you're going to pay. Okay? It's very close to the real figure, but it's just a few cents out, maybe. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to do this again, but we're not going to use the deduction table. We're now going to use the tax table like we learnt about last week. So let's have a look at this. So here's our tax table. We've got our different tax brackets, we've got our annual taxable income, and then we have our rate of tax. Now, we said our person earns 164,000 rand a year. That falls into this category number 2, because 164,000 lies between 160,001 rand and 250,000 rand. According to my table, I've got to pay an amount of 28,800 rand up front, plus 25% of every rand above 160,000. Now, if I've got 164,000 and I want to know how much more is that than 160,000, well, sure, I'm scared to ask this call guy, but let's try anyway. How am I going to work out how much more 164,000 is than 160,000?
You're going to subtract the one from the other.
Absolutely, hey? Brilliant. Okay. You see, this is mathslit stuff that the cool guy's learning. Right. So 164,000 minus 160,000 gives me 4,000. So I know I've got to find 25% of 4,000 rand. So we're going to have 28,000 rand 800, okay, plus what? Plus 25% of 4,000, which is 1,000 rand, equals, add those up, and we get an amount of 29,800 rand. Okay, so that's the tax we got to pay, but, oops, and it's not here. I cannot believe this is not here. I've made a terrible error. You got to subtract the rebate. Now remember, if you go to last week's show, there was a table underneath that said the rebate is. And unfortunately, our producer's forgotten to put that rebate table on. But it was somewhere around the figure of 11,440 rand, which every single person gets deducted off their tax, minus some more. And I can't quite remember. I think it was 2,980 if I remember correctly. So if I was under the age of 65, the tax man said, you know what, I'm going to give you a gift. And the gift is worth 11,440 rand. If you're over the age of 65, I'm going to give you more of a gift. I'm going to give you another 2,980 rand. If you're over the age of 75, sure, now we're really getting old. It's like my mother-in-law. Eh? Woo, okay, all right. If you're really old and over the age of 75, we're going to give you some more discount on your tax. But what we would then do is we'd say, right, out comes our calculator, and our calculator said that we owed the tax man how much? 29,800. 29,800, but we're going to get a rebate of 11,440, and we're going to get another rebate of 2,980 rand, and then my tax is going to be 15,380 rand. 15,380 rand. Now, guys, I'm really sorry I didn't have this rebate table because I really wanted to show you how it works. But basically, when we get that answer and we get our previous answer, you're going to find that they're almost identical. They're just a few cents out. And why are they a few cents out? Because my deduction table looked at a range of salaries, whereas my tax table, you can calculate the exact amount of tax you're going to pay to the cent. Okay, but there's a disadvantage with the tax table, and the disadvantage is, sure, you got this whole calculation to do, whereas the other one you just read two figures and saw where they crossed each other. Okay, hope that's kind of made some sort of sense to you. Let's look at a phenomenal topic, and that's this whole thing of exchange rates. Let's have a look at the question behind me. So with all the money Mr. Templeton, that's now me, okay, with all the money Mr. Templeton got from selling the grade 12 final maths lit examination paper, he decides to take his family across to Orlando in the United States. The times indicated is the actual time at the mentioned airport. Now, I hope you can see this timetable because I kid you not, this is the real timetable that I will be following on Sunday when we go off to the States. Okay, here it is. So we're going to be leaving Johannesburg International Airport. I don't know, can you see that? I'm sure you can see it on your screen. Maybe the producer can tell me if he can see it or not. Okay, he's not saying anything. All right. So yeah, they say they can see it. Okay, cool. So at 7:15, we're going to take off from Johannesburg OR Tambo Airport. We're flying with Lufthansa. Okay, it says business class. Hate to break the news to my family, but we're not flying business class. Okay, we're going economy, squashed up at the back. Right, so here we go. We leave at 7:15. We arrive at 6:10 the next morning. Then we sit on the airport for 7 hours and 50 minutes. Okay, looking at each other. Then we take off at 2 from Frankfurt, and we fly into Orlando, and we land at 6:15. Now, guys, this is an interesting little concept, but please, it's not something we're discussing in today's lesson. We discussed it in one of the other lessons before this. But just take note. We're leaving at 2 in the afternoon. We arrive at 6:15. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's 4 hours and 35 minutes. But the timetable says we're flying for 10 hours, 35 minutes. So we've lost 6 hours somewhere, okay? And why is that? Because America is 6 hours, Orlando is 6 hours behind Frankfurt, okay? So when we take off, my son's going to say, oh, Dad, this is such a short flight. It's only 4 hours and 35 minutes. I'm going to take his watch and set it back 6 hours, okay? And say, well, actually, kid, it's not 20 to 2. It's only 20 to 10 in the 20 to 8 in the morning. Let's just keep going. All right. But this is what we must look at. When we look at this, when we come back, we're coming back on the, it had the time over here, or the date, I think it did. Yeah, here we go. On the Tuesday, the 2nd. But we're leaving on Sunday, the 10th of August, coming back Tuesday, the 2nd of September. Now, why is that important? Let's look at this question. Traveling abroad requires passengers to get currency for the country that they'll be traveling to. With the knowledge that $1 is equal to 11 Rand 55, determine how much it'll cost, round it to the nearest rand, to get enough dollars if the family of 3 each intend to have $35 spending money for every day they'll spend in Orlando, including both the day they arrive in and depart from Orlando. There are 31 days in August. So, we've got $35. We know that each dollar is worth 11 Rand and 55 cents. Agreed? So, how many dollars does one person need a day? So, $35, what's that in rands? 35 times 11.55. Okay? Equals, and we work it to 404 Rand 25 cents. So 404 Rand and 25 cents is needed per day, per person, so that they can have a place to stay, or in my case, some food to eat and a place to stay. All right, 404 Rand 25 cents. Now, guys, there are 3 people going. So it's not 404 Rand 25 for that family. It's 404 Rand 25 for the one member of that family. If they're 3, we got to multiply that by 3. So let's do that. So we've got the 404.25. We're going to multiply it by 3, and we're going to land up with an answer. I'm just going to try and get rid of this little weird line that I've drawn here. Okay, so what are we going to land up with? We're going to take out our calculator and say we've got 404.25, multiply that by 3, and we're going to get an answer now of 1,212 Rand 75. 1,212 Rand 75 cents is what the family need every day. Now, how many days is the family staying there? Now, I want to tell you a little secret. Here's my secret. I gave this very question to my grade 12s in their prelim paper 2. Because I wanted to know, do they understand exchange rates and can they read from a table? Many of them made this mistake. They saw here there are 31 days in August, and so presumed that the family was staying in America for 31 days. Now that's not true at all. Why is that not true? That's not true because they're leaving on the 10th of August or leaving South Africa on the 10th of August, and they are arriving on the leaving Orlando again on the 2nd of September. Let's read what the question says. It says, how much spending money for every day will they spend in Orlando, including both the day they arrive in Orlando and the day they depart? So let's have a look here now. Out comes our timetable. Now, we leave Johannesburg on the 10th of August. We arrive the following day. It says there plus 1 day. So we are arriving on the 11th of August. We arrive on the 11th of August, and we're departing on the 2nd of September. How many days is that? Now can you understand why the examiner said that there are 31 days in August? Remember they said that? There are 31 days in August. Because we need that to work out how many days we are got. So, here we go. We're gone for 23 days. Now, folks, if I'm gone for 23 days, I need this amount of money for 23 days. Out comes my calculator. I'm not doing it in my head because my head's too small. Times 23 equals, voila, 27,893. 27,893 Rand, and how many cents was it? And 25 cents.
That's a lot of money.
That's a whack load of money, hey? That's scary. For only $35 a day. And like, geez, okay. But have we answered the question? The question says quite clearly, round it to the nearest rand. So that rounded off is going to give me 27,893 Rand. Sure, that's a lot of money. But what a great question. Now, let's move on and let's look at this whole concept of commission. So off we go. We say to the bank, right, we want to know how much commission are we paying. So here it is. The bank from which the family buy their dollars charge the following rates. The rates for exchanging currency is 57 Rand plus 1.85% of the amount exchanged. Maximum exchange fee of 500 Rand. Show that the family will only pay an exchange fee of 500 Rand in addition to the cost of the dollars. Now, how much was this? 27,893. Will you remember that, Lloyd? Because I won't, hey?
Okay.
27,893. Let's go. All right. So we said it's going to be 27,893. I didn't even need you. You see, we don't need maths call, guys. It's just maths lit. Right. So that's the amount of money, but we've got to find 1.85% of that. So I'm going to multiply that by 1.85%. Well, I'm not going to. My calculator is. Okay. So 27,008. I've got to clear that because that wasn't rounded. So 27,893 Rand. We're going to multiply that by 1.85%. There's my percent button, equals, and we get 516 Rand, and look at that figure on your screen, folk, 516.0205. Okay, it's rands. Because it's rands, we've got to round to 2 decimal places. So it's 516 Rand
and 2 cents.
And 2 cents. Okay? Now, is that the commission I'm going to pay? No, because there's a further amount I've got to add on to that. And the amount I've got to charge is another 57 Rand. Yes, like they're making money out of us. So we're going to add another 57 Rand to that. So out comes this calculator, and we're going to say, cool, we got 516 Rand and 2 cents. We're going to add 57 Rand, and we're going to get an answer then of 573 Rand and 2 cents. 573 Rand and 2 cents. Right, this nice bank is saying, you know what? Because we like you, we're not going to charge more than 500 Rand. So anything above 500 Rand, you just need to pay 500 Rand. So it's 573 Rand and 2 cents. No. It's only going to cost 500 Rand. That's the only commission you are going to pay.
We've come to the end of today's show. Thanks for joining me and for chatting to me during the show. Please visit our website, learn.mindset.co.za, to get the notes and to watch the videos from earlier in the year. And remember, we are here to get you through the year, so stay connected. Goodbye.